Avowed is setting expectations for the Elder Scrolls 6 too high. The cope here is off the charts. I can't even keep a straight face. I honestly can't even keep a straight face reading that. All right, so in the most recent ploy of journalists trying to gaslight us into thinking that Avowed has succeeded, we have an article from Screen Rant talking about how Avowed's success could be the death of Bethesda. I feel like Bethesda's doing that on its own. I don't think Avowed's really helping that. Obsidian Entertainment has often felt like it is in the shadow of Bethesda, with its better-known games including The Outer Worlds and Avowed. I would say Outer Worlds. I wouldn't say Avowed. Often being directly compared to Bethesda's beloved IP. The Outer Worlds is seen just as it being Fallout Light, and Avowed, up until launch, was Skyrim Light. Obsidian Entertainment has ever been made a spin-off of Bethesda's Fallout series in the form of New Vegas, further implying that at least at first glance that the developer is riding on the coattails of a bigger, more successful one. I would say yes. It's literally in their marketing that they made New Vegas. So yes, they are riding on the coattails of their previous successes. But however, in almost every instance, Obsidian Entertainment beats Bethesda at its own game, developing far more immersive, competent, and enjoyable RPGs. So I'm going to stop you here. Let's stop right there for a minute. Let's just stop right there for a minute. Avowed was on Game Pass, so the majority of the people did not buy it because they had Game Pass. The amount of copium that this person is writing right now is insane. I downloaded the game off Game Pass. I played the tutorial. And I wanted a refund from playing that game. And I didn't even buy it. Melee felt like garbage. Movement felt like garbage. It didn't resemble any game that should be released in 2025. This game was about a 2011 type of content release. If it released then, it would have been fine. But I was expecting Space Marines 2 type of melee combat, and what I got was as janky as Skyrim. So to say that Obsidian Entertainment beats Bethesda at its own game, sure, but I guarantee you Skyrim has more of a player base right now than Avowed ever will, and that's a fact. We'll look at different games and their releases in terms of a Game Pass and a Steam simultaneous release. It's not good. The amount of gaslighting that is already in this article, and it's been like, what, 2 paragraphs, is insane. But wait, there's more? Oh no. I love this part. The likes of which Bethesda has struggled to imitate. While not every Obsidian Entertainment game is a hit, they largely excel where Bethesda can't. Avowed, Obsidian's latest game, already has a makeup of a perfect RPG. Is that why I quit in the tutorial? Because the F-Tuck sucked that bad? Is that the makings of a perfect RPG? And that may be concerning for Bethesda. I feel like Bethesda does not even give it a minuscule thought about Obsidian Entertainment in terms of competition, because they know that they will be able to sell Elder Scrolls 6 and break records with it. The cope here is off the charts. With practically every other studio releasing far superior RPGs, what chance does Elder Scrolls 6 have? Oh, dude, this is rage bait. No shot. This Tom Wilson guy, this is flat out rage bait. No way. Avowed can make the Elder Scrolls obsolete. It shows how out of date Bethesda design is. I would argue that both of them are out of date. Both of them are all stuck in 2011. So the article states that Bethesda games have declined in quality significantly since the days of Daggerfall, Morrowind, and even Oblivion. And its more recent titles, including Starfield and Fallout 76, have been marred with controversy. You know what? And I would say, like, as much as we're memeing on this article, that is very true. Fallout 76 launched with a very mediocre response. Frankly, no one wanted that game. They did not want a live service Fallout. They wanted another narrative-driven, single-player experience Fallout. That's what they wanted. And then Starfield was marred with controversy because it wasn't Skyrim in space. They tried something vastly different with really open planets that had nothing in between them, and it was frankly garbage. It wasn't fun. So they did gambles that didn't pay off. But here's the thing. They're saying that Starfield was marred with controversy, and they're saying that Bethesda cannot even compare to Obsidian's greatness, yet Starfield has insanely better numbers than Avowed ever has. I don't get it. Put blinders on that hard, saying Avowed's good, but Starfield is bad, when Starfield numbers shatter Avowed's. And that's even comparing it that they were both simultaneously launched on Game Pass and Steam. So you can't even make the disingenuous argument that Avowed doesn't have high numbers because of Game Pass. You can't make that argument. Even Fallout 76 is more popular. Is it really? Let me see. Wait a minute. Oh! Wait. So this article is going to poo-poo all over Starfield and Fallout 76 when it can't even beat the current 76's numbers. Really? And has a higher all-time peak of 73,000 10 months ago. On top of this, this wasn't even launched on Steam. It had its own launcher for a long time. Oh, come on. 76 has an unfair advantage of having a long tail of improvements. No, I would agree. Like, if we want to compare apples to apples, then we compare it to Starfield. That is apples to apples, same exact window of launch, no improvements, no nothing, just raw dogging it. Let's launch the game. It doesn't even compare. 17 months ago had 330,000 people playing that game versus Avowed less than 20,000, really like 19,000. And that's on top of them both being on Game Pass. Like, you can't. This is a disingenuous argument. From buggy launches to unfulfilled potential, all of which have led fans growing upset with Bethesda. People expect more from a developer behind one of the most talked about and best-selling RPGs of all time, Skyrim. It's understandable why fans are so desperate for a better Bethesda games, especially as the developer's signature flair is rarely replicated due to the complexity of its foundations. I would say that's not wrong. To make matters worse, Bethesda has been consistently outshone by modern RPG developers, including the likes of CD Projekt Red, Larian Studios, and Warhorse Studios. Where once it stood tall with the likes of BioWare and the other legacy RPG developers, Bethesda no longer feels like the juggernaut it once was. We are seeing giants fall. Blizzard, BioWare, Bethesda, like, they're not the same anymore. That's not to say that this game have no redeeming qualities, but rather the inconsistent between launches, the decline in quality, and the poor critical reception. And the link between releases makes getting excited for the Elder Scrolls 6 or any Bethesda project utterly futile. I could say with 100% certainty, people are more excited for Elder Scrolls 6, no matter the current state it's in or how long it takes, compared to Avowed. And that's from brand loyalty. If I had to take a bet between Obsidian and Bethesda, I'm still going to bet Bethesda. However, until now, no developer has offered a true competitor to Bethesda's style of game design. CD Projekt Red's third-person narrative-heavy Witcher 3, while undeniably better than Bethesda's recent output, and that's very true, is vastly different experience to Skyrim or Fallout. Similarly, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, while veering into Scrolls-like territory, doesn't quite fit the bill, due to its greater focus on realism and life sim mechanics. So it was up to Obsidian Entertainment to once again replicate Bethesda's style and prove, once and for all, it's outdated. I feel like they did a really good job on that. I feel like Obsidian did an amazing job proving that they're outdated and Bethesda's outdated. That's not the narrative he's trying to weave. Imagine the guys who made Space Marines 2 making a next-gen Skyrim-like game. Just imagine that. You know how amazing that game would fucking be? Holy shit. Obsidian is just stuck in the past. Like, you could just tell from every game they have ever made, their formula is the same. There's really no... Other than their humor, there's been no evolution. Yeah, I mean, true. Their formula is very much New Vegas and hasn't changed. Avowed? Oh, wait. Come on. This is a person trying to lie straight to your face and not blink. Avowed garnered critical acclaim at launch. Where? Please show me a place that is not a quote-unquote journalist that actually says something good about Avowed. Please. Oh, wait. Because we all know that half of these journalists are either taking a kickback or just sucking the metaphorical cock of these fucking AAA publishers and AA publishers. There is a clear agenda that they are trying to weave that the public doesn't agree with. That's like, this is on the same level as saying that Concord was great and has since gone to be one of Xbox's best games in nearly a decade. I find that so hard to believe. I find that this statement just to be factually untrue. More importantly, it took aspects that define a Scrolls-like and vastly improved upon them. Did it? This game did not make me want to play past tutorial. It felt like such a shallow, just soulless game that it didn't make me give a shit about the world. This one's very true. Journalist. I love this game because I get paid to review it. I don't know why I read that in such a robot voice, but it feels appropriate. It feels very appropriate. I love game, offering a more immersive world packed full of emergent moments and interesting side quests and meaningful dialogue choices and a chosen one narrative that is just as satisfying as Oblivion's or Skyrim's. But I thought Skyrim was bad. Wait a minute. Wait. But he was weaving the narrative that Skyrim was bad and Oblivion was good, but Skyrim was downhill, even though it was the best-selling game they ever had. Not everything about Avowed is perfect, but it clearly illustrates where Bethesda's traditional RPG design has faltered and how it can improve. I can't even keep a straight face. I honestly can't even keep a straight face reading that. Oh my god. No. Is that a real title? Avowed should become the blueprint for fantasy RPGs. Yes. That's like saying that Veilguard should be the blueprint for fantasy RPGs. Its approach to world design is incredible. You mean that it's not open world and that it's on rails and that it's very curated designed areas, which by the way Skyrim was too, just more spread out. Yeah, but Veilguard actually had fun gameplay. I would agree. Veilguard actually had fun gameplay, unlike Avowed. Avowed undeniably makes mistakes. And there are areas where Skyrim, and especially Bethesda's earlier works, bested. However, when it comes to a modern Scrolls-like, he keeps using that word by the way, or really simply replicating Bethesda's design philosophy, Avowed could serve as the blueprint. Most importantly, Avowed's smaller open areas, while certainly detracting from the sprawling scale of the past Elder Scrolls games, makes its exploration both more detailed and more manageable. I would argue that their map designs are so formulaic, it is so clear that you see all the pathways and clearly what they're doing. And they're like, oh, there's hidden treasure over there. Oh, I see what you're trying to do here. Like, it's so plain to see. You might as well have painted it with fucking yellow paint. Maybe he played a different game, while also removing the need for tedious loading screens between each and every area. Are we in 2010 again? Is he actually beating on this drum when we have other games that have no loading screens and are fucking massive? Yes! This is complaining about old technology, effectively. I mean, does he really want to dive into that and show how designers fake loading screens between things like Destiny 2 or even Outer Worlds? It's very clear that they're loading stuff in the background when they're showing specific scenes, but hey, you know what? That's not a loading screen. Interestingly, Bethesda dabbed with this style of open world with Starfield, although it was severely hampered by its focus on procedural generation rather than tailor-made content. Even when it did offer a more purposeful and detailed experience with Shattered Space DLC, players found it to be disappointing. Yeah, but at the same time, it was still more of a financial success than Avowed. As much as you want to shit all over it, at the end of the day, a company is there to make money, and I can guarantee you they made more money off Starfield than Avowed will ever make in its lifetime, with it struggling to reach the heights of Skyrim, let alone Avowed. Oh my, come on. I actually am going to write down this guy, quote-unquote, journalist name, because I really want to read all of his articles. I think that would make great content, to read the cope that is his articles. The open area structure would absolutely benefit Bethesda's design philosophy, especially when it comes to penchant for emergent and immersive gameplay moments. While a larger open world better accommodates a greater variety of emergent moments, both Avowed and 2024's best RPG, Dragon's Dogma 2, prove that this style of immersive world building is still possible in a more restricted setting. In fact, Avowed and Dragon's Dogma 2 have a greater concentration of unique and memorable moments, both created by a developer and made through the player's interactions with the world. It just takes a lot of more effort to implement. I would say that Dragon's Dogma 2 had a very mediocre success. I've been tempted to play it, but that game was meant to be a one and done, same as Avowed, right? They're not meant to be live service games. They're not meant to be played over and over again. But DD2, I would argue, is a better game than Avowed is. It doesn't even compare. It's disingenuous to compare DD2 to Avowed. We have so many RPGs that are releasing this year. Avowed will not even be on a footnote for the best-selling or best RPGs of this year. Additionally, Avowed's approach to first-person fantasy combat is phenomenal, and easily one of the best implemented of gaming's history. Oh, that's a big claim. Okay, sure. It's far more dynamic than even Bethesda's most recent combat model, offering a plethora of ways to approach each combat encounter while making every attack and blast of magic feel suitably weighted and impactful. If Bethesda takes anything from Avowed, it should be the expertly designed combat that ties together the entire experience. Wait, no! Dude, it does get worse! Avowed is setting expectations for the Elder Scrolls 6 too high. I don't think so. I think we're good. Sorry. Okay, 1 second. The Elder Scrolls 6 has a lot to prove. Avowed has hopefully created healthy competition for Bethesda. No, it hasn't. It's not even a blip on their radar. And that is absolutely a good thing. I agree, competition is great, but let's call a spade a spade. This is not competition for Elder Scrolls. This is competition for Veilguard. This is not competition for even Skyrim. Oh, and Veilguard would win. Developers should inspire one another and attempt to show how ideas and mechanics can be improved upon to better enhance the player's experience going forward. Don't tell Nintendo that, guys. Yeah, they don't want to hear that. Avowed being good and, in some cases, even significantly better. Thank you. So, Baldur's Gate 3 and KCD2 have showcased just how good an RPG can be, especially when created by passionate developers with a keen eye for detail. Similarly, Avowed and Cyberpunk 2077, dude, you cannot put Avowed and Cyberpunk in the same category. Avowed's a fucking D tier, where Cyberpunk A was a D tier when it launched, and then clawed its way up. Avowed and Cyberpunk 2077 illustrate the best sides of a blockbuster's RPG, which is very much the category that Bethesda's games now fall in. All corners of the RPG scene have been conquered by the very best, and Bethesda now has to re-enter it on the back foot, with a slew of poorly reviewed titles under its belt and a legacy of great games long behind it. I mean, I feel like the argument that this guy is trying to make about Bethesda bad, I would agree with. I would agree with that. Bethesda is bad. Bethesda is a shell of what it used to be. Oh, you are right. They misspelled bladders. Wait, so this article is multiple days old. It's like, what, 4 days old, and they won't actually fix their own typos. Avowed, alongside other amazing modern RPGs, has set the bar too high for the Elder Scrolls 6. This is a crazy statement. It has gotten to the point that unless the Elder Scrolls 6 is a action-packed as Avowed, he can't be serious. I don't think we have to worry about that. And as immersive as Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I've heard nothing but good things about that game. So I would tend to agree from what I've read and what I've seen about that game that it is very good. While offering a great narrative like Cyberpunk, and I would agree, Cyberpunk's narrative was very strong and really, really amazing. With the choices, hey, he spelled Baldur's Gate right here. With the choices of Baldur's Gate 3, it'll be perhaps unfairly punished. It also doesn't help that the ridiculous length of time people have been waiting for the Elder Scrolls 6 only continues to grow, furthering compounding the problem. Avowed may not single-handedly kill Bethesda, but it may have just delivered the final killing blow. This is the most rage bait fucking article that I have read in a long time. I don't know, I feel like we've said our piece, but man, guys, this guy, Tom Wilson, this is hard to frankly even call him a journalist at this point. It doesn't feel like it's written by ChatGPT, but ChatGPT would have written a better article. Oh, and it wouldn't have made mistakes on calling it Bladder's Gate. But it's interesting though, like I feel like the general journalist collective are trying to gaslight us into saying that Avowed is a success, that Avowed has done amazing. But when I did my research and I looked at all of these games that launched with a Game Pass / Steam simultaneous release, Avowed is on the bottom of that. So even the argument that, oh, its numbers got hurt by Game Pass. Of course it did. 100% it did. But it's still so disingenuous to say that Avowed is doing well. For a quote-unquote AAA or even a AA game to be pulling in 9,000 people on Steam is terrible. This is high-res numbers. So It Takes Two, Starfield, Back 4 Blood were like just prime examples of this, of very successful, like mediocre successful. True, yeah. And I mean, we're 2 days into this game releasing, and it's already lost 50% of its player base on Steam. That's an oopsie daisy. That really shows you that people are not enjoying this game, and it has very little shelf life. Obsidian is owned by Microsoft, so it behooves Microsoft, and it's literally an Xbox game studio, so it behooves them to put a game that is an Xbox game studio creation directly on Game Pass. So frankly, it's like one company giving another company money, and it's just shuffling funds, right? This isn't some different developer that is saying like, oh wow, we're going to be on Game Pass. It's literally a Microsoft-owned studio saying that we're on Game Pass. Starfield, which frankly was a massive flop, had one of the biggest drop-offs I've ever seen a game have, but still was on Game Pass day one, had 330,000 people playing it. That just shows you, even when the game is shit, the name Bethesda still has weight. And I feel like Starfield probably did the most reputational damage for Bethesda of any game I've ever seen. They're still at 4,000 people. Avowed was sitting at 11,000 people. It's just crazy that they're just trying to, frankly, lie to you and say that this is a healthy number. But I think the point that we can make with Kingdom Come Deliverance is Kingdom Come Deliverance, from a visual style, was more interesting to people than the crazy mushrooms on face / heavy stylization style that is a Obsidian game. Because frankly, people have been really enjoying this game. It had has over 250,000 people playing it 16 days ago, and still has 110,000 people, 112,000 people playing it 24-hour peak. If we're comparing, say, successful RPG to successful RPG, then yeah, Avowed is terrible. You can't even argue that Avowed is successful. I feel like we're going to see more and more of these articles of just like journalists trying to cope and say that Avowed has been successful, and I don't understand like why they're trying to go down this route that is obviously a losing battle. Are they just trying to garner favor with Microsoft so they can get, some Microsoft money or just suck on the teat of a major publisher? I don't know. The way that these online journalists are acting, it's very similar to Sinclair. And if you don't know who Sinclair is one of the biggest owners of TV stations in the nation for the US. And they had a video that they made all these different talents read effectively the same script. And you can see, because frankly, it's kind of similar when it comes down to gaming journalist websites. There are, I think, like 3 owners. I think there's like 3 companies that own every one of these websites. There's a very, very clear propaganda machine that they are trying to enact here. But anyway, that's all I got for this one. I'm tired of like pooping all over Avowed. That's just crazy. But we record these live on Twitch. You should come say hi. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you think that I'm out of pocket on this one, or is this guy just absolutely gaslighting the crap out of us? I would love for you guys to just let me know what your thoughts are. But chat, if you'd like to say hi right now. Anyway, bye. However, until now, don't know. No, oh my God. Ah! I'm good.